Hi, I'm Fifi, and this is Going Deeper with the Lord. It's Friday, and on Fridays, I just share the things that I'm learning as I grow in the Lord, the things that I learn from sermons or from Christian books that I'm reading, or even just from other people's testimonies. So, something that I learned is that God talks to us in so many ways. God talks to us through dreams, through books, through other people's testimonies, through His Word, through sermons. And I encountered uh, a situation the past weekend, where I was listening to Corrie Ten Boom. I was listening to one of her talks, and she said that she once signed someone else's Bible, and she in the middle of the Bible there was a poem, and in that poem, the words of the poem say that imagine if God was to ask me and for to do something for him, and I said, God, I am so busy right now. I've got so much to do. Find someone else to do it, or wait until I get around to it. And then in the same poem, the writer said, and imagine if when I need God, I would go to God and say, God, I need you. And then God would say the same thing to me and say, oh, I've got so much to do right now. Find someone else to do it, or wait until I get around to that. So when I was listening to her talking about that poem, I felt like, yeah, that would not be fun to go to God. I mean, like, God would never do that. It was a poem. So God would never do that, or would never say to us, I'm busy right now, because He is, but He would never say that to us. But as I was listening to it, I thought, like, I reflected on it, and I thought, yeah, imagine if God was to ever say to us that He was busy, or He was to say, wait until I get around to it. I didn't know that I needed that. I didn't know that God was talking to me. So what I do during the day is that at 3 p.m. every day I go for prayer, because God is my 9 to 5. I used to have a 9 to 5 job, and God called me out of my job. But now, because I am in this solitary space, I make sure that my time, God takes space in my life more than anyone, especially throughout the day. I make sure that I am more accessible to God than I am accessible to everybody. So when I was reading the book of Daniel, when I heard that Daniel used to pray in the afternoon, there was something in me that inspired me to do the 3 p.m. prayers. And they have been very beneficial, because we go through a lot throughout the day. So for me, the 3 p.m. prayer are time for a reset, to reset from all the stuff that happened in the first part of the morning, and then to reset and then dedicate the rest of the afternoon to the Lord, or the rest of the day to the Lord. When I first started these prayers, I would be right on time. If I'm working out, I would set the alarm to 2:58, so that I don't go to prayer panting and sweating. I would just give myself time to calm down, and then to go to prayer, so that by 3 o'clock sharp, I am on my knees and I'm praying to the Lord. But as I was doing it, I got too comfortable. And then sometimes I would be doing something, and then I would think, okay, let me just finish this, and then I'll go for prayer. And then I'll be late, maybe 2 minutes, and then it became 5 minutes, and then recently 10 minutes. But I would be thinking that, okay, let me just get this done, so that when I'm in prayer, I'm not distracted thinking about what I left unfinished. And then to a point where at some point it was like 3:20 p.m. I was late for prayer, that much. But I would give an excuse, thinking that, well, we serve a God who understands. He understands that I had to finish that thing. So even when I go to for prayer, when I'm late, I would say, oh, sorry, Lord, I was still doing this and that. So I was listening to that talk by Corrie Ten Boom on a Sunday, and exactly 2 days later, it was a Tuesday, I was doing something, and then I was late for prayer again. I go for prayer, and I said, okay, sorry, Lord, that I'm late. I was still finishing up cooking for the kids. And the Lord put it in my spirit. I wasn't even thinking about that talk. I didn't meditate on it after I listened to it. And then the Lord said to me, imagine if you were coming for prayer and I said to you, sorry, Fifi, I still need to finish this first. I'll come back to you. And I thought immediately, I thought about what I heard Corrie ten Boom saying about that poem. And I thought, oh, so that was my message. I thought it was just something I was listening to that I was enjoying from Corrie ten Boom. I didn't realize that God was speaking to me and He would leave that, an imprint of that in my spirit to bring me to a place where I would remember that and I would realize that, oh, yeah, yeah, that's not fun, because I know how it is to come for prayer and you are trying to like just get like crank yourself up in the spirit, but you're feeling like your prayers are not going anywhere. So I love walking into prayer and immediately being ushered into the presence of the Lord. I don't like it when my mind is still wandering on things and I'm still in the flesh, and then I still have to like crank myself up into to usher myself into the presence of the Lord. So I thought, oh, okay, so this was God talking to me. So I'm just sharing this just to say that God talks to us in so many ways. God will highlight some things in sermons, in people's testimonies, in books that we are reading, or in even in our daily conversations. Sometimes He will highlight that thing and will not immediately talk about that thing to us, but He will just highlight it and leave it in our spirit. And then at the right time, when He needs to talk to us about something, He will bring that thing up, and then He will relate it to whatever that we are going through, and to help us understand something that will open our eyes, that will change our perspective or renew our mind. Brothers and sisters, I just wanted to share that because it really blessed me. So I'm sharing it with the hope that it will bless someone out there. That's all that I had for you today. God bless you and have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next video.